Hey, Sean here from SpeedCubeReview.com. Today we're going to talk about what to do to transition from being a beginner to an intermediate cuber. Now those terms are a bit vague and everyone will have a different idea of what a beginner and what an intermediate cuber is. I'm going to consider a beginner as someone who can solve a cube using layer by layer method and is around 25 seconds or slower in times. This will be focusing on transitioning from layer by layer method to CFOP/Friedrich method. Of course you can use Roux or another method as well, but we'll leave that for another day. Let's start at the cross. Now there are two things you should be working on once you start solving the cross. The first one is to figure out what you need to do to solve it and do that without looking at the pieces. It may take a while to figure out what you're going to do and you might need to work on solving two cross pieces without looking, followed by the other two cross pieces, until you get better at memorizing the pieces. The second thing is to start solving the cross on the bottom layer. You will need to flip the cube over if you solve the cross on top, which doesn't take too much time, but it prevents you from finding other pieces for the F2L stage until it is flipped. If you solve the cross on the bottom and get to the point where you are solving it without needing to look at the pieces, you can start tracking the pieces for F2L. For F2L, most likely if you are using a beginner method, you are going layer by layer, and then do an algorithm to insert the edges. One thing you can do is keyhole method that I went over in the last video, and you can find a link in the description of how that works. What you should be working on next is inserting the corner and edges at the same time with F2L. What I did was learn a few algorithms, but I didn't feel like they were algorithms, but instead just was what you do to insert the pair. For example, I first worked on learning how to manipulate the way pieces were facing. As long as you still have at least one corner unsolved, you can bring it up, spin the top layer, and bring it back down without messing up any solved F2L pairs or the cross. This was a very slow process at first, but really helped me understand how the cube worked and how to manipulate the pieces. What I would do is get the corner piece in the top layer with the bottom color facing the side, and put the matching edge on the top layer as well. If the two top colors were matching, I would pair them up and insert it with either RU''R' or L'U''L, depending on which side it was on. If the top colors were opposite, I would put the corner on the front side with the edge on the back. Line the corner up where it needs to be inserted, and again either do RU''R or L'U''L, depending on which side it was on. Now there are some algorithms that I learned from other videos, and of course there will be much shorter and better ways of inserting the F2L pair than what you will do when first figuring out how to do it intuitively. But it will come with time, and personally I feel much more rewarding than just trying to learn one algorithm after another. Speaking of learning one algorithm after another, let's talk about the last layer. What you might be doing at this point is making a cross on the top layer and then flipping each corner with an algorithm R'D''RD. The next step with this is to learn 2-look OLL and 2-look PLL. There are not a ton of algorithms and some are quite similar. After that, it would be learning 1-look PLL and end with 1-look OLL. I put them in that order just because 1-look OLL has most algorithms. Learning 2-look is not delaying 1-look since the algorithms in 2-look are used in 1-look when you have that specific OLL or PLL pattern. Now, there are multiple algorithms for each case, and honestly, reading the notation made it hard for me to really visualize what was going on. Crazy Bad Cuber has a great video where he's going over the algorithms in slow motion, which helped me the most. Now, instead of just going over every single algorithm, try to figure out some intuitively. For example, I found that doing a certain move known as the, quote, sexy move, in between F and F' allowed me to solve some OLLs and brought me back to the start after 6 moves. Here's an OLL case that is F, sexy move, F', or F, sexy move, twice, F'. F, sexy move 3 times, F'. The only issue you might find, like I did, is that I then taught myself to solve this, F, sexy move 4 times, F', instead of doing the easier reverse of it, F, U''R' twice, F', and this, F, sexy move 5 times, F', instead of the reverse, F, U''R', F'. Now, like I said, don't get bogged down with trying to memorize a notation in your head and worried about having to memorize them all. What will happen is that it will get into your muscle memory, and although you might not know the notation through letters, your fingers will be able to do the algorithm. Think of it as being able to type a word either on a keyboard or a phone without actually thinking about what the letters are in the word. The fingers just move to them because you have done it so often. It took me months to get the main algorithms for OLL and PLL down, and that was with constant daily work going through a few algorithms repeatedly. Don't rush it. People learn things at different rates, and some learn better with written algorithms, while others, like me, seem to learn better with visual assistants like videos. Now the biggest factor. No matter what anyone says will make you faster, it's not a specific cube or specific step, it is practice. Don't forget to have fun. Your goal should not be to break a record. If you do, awesome, but striving to be the best might only lead to frustration towards something that should be enjoyable. Practice will increase your muscle memory with your finger speed as well as your control over the cube. I still have fun finding and looking up new algorithms. Some OLL cases I have multiple algorithms for in order to skip some or all of the PLL steps, so there's always more to learn and enjoy. Don't worry about how fast or slow your times progress. Don't worry about what other people think is fast or not. This is how I progressed from just picking up a cube and taking about 5 minutes to solve it to now solving just over 10 seconds and still getting faster. I don't get frustrated when I cannot beat my record times because they are just that, they are records. I cube for the joy of solving a puzzle that keeps bringing more surprises. This video turned into a bit of a motivational speech, but I see many people daily on the forums and Facebook groups asking how to get better, stating that they are stuck. But most of the time it is, besides these steps which help me, patience and practice, which is truly necessary. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. For those of you starting out, feel free to ask questions, and for those of you who are a bit more advanced, what helped you the most? Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos in the future, and as always, stop by speedcubeview.com for more news and reviews.